Hello everyone, this is part 2 of What If Naruto Left But Hinata Is Confused, and I hope you guys enjoy this video and to like, to subscribe, to share, and check out the playlist, to see more comment down below. Now let's start the intro.
They call me a god. They call me a god. They call me a god.
Join my membership, the perks are great. It's in the description. Be sure to like and subscribe, it gives me more motivation. Enjoy. Hinata arrived at Team 8 training ground early the next day. No one was there yet, so she made herself comfortable underneath her favorite tree. It was early summer and the training ground was alive with the sounds of birds chirping, the rustling grass and squirrels playfully chasing each other up the trees. Hinata closed her eyes and felt the sun beating down on her porcelain face and the wind tumble through her hair. Then she sighed and put her hand on her sweater, over the place her heart was hidden. Hinata felt the weight of her locket and her heart swelled as Naruto suddenly came walking through the trees in the distance. Naruto, she breathed. She watched as he walked right over to her, an inviting smile gracing his face. Hinata, what are you doing? He greeted her. Hinata felt her heart pounding and her head began to spin with all the thoughts running through her mind, but one thought stood out over any of the others. I'm waiting for Kiba and Shino, we're supposed to train today. What are you doing here, Naruto? You're not supposed to be back for a while. Does Sakura know you're back? No, nobody knows. Jiraiya and I decided it would be best if I had someone from the village with me while I finish my training. I get so homesick sometimes I feel like I can't go on. Hinata's tea became stiff and she had to swallow hard in order to move her mouth. Who were you going to take with you? Naruto leaned in closer to Hinata and gently caressed her cheek. Hinata's cheeks instantly turned the rosy color Naruto was used to. You. He softly whispered in her ear. He wants me to go away with him. The thought raced through Hinata's mind before she went completely limp. Then Naruto gently scooped her up into his arms and took her away with him through the trees, away from Konoha. Hinata. Hinata. Hinata opened her eyes to find Kiba standing over her. You awake now? Shino and I have been here for a while now. I had to convince him to let me wake you up so we could get some training in before the day is gone. He gave her a warm look. Hinata looked around her teammate to see Shino leaning against the trunk of a far-off tree. We're going to work on a new technique for you today, remember? So you get stronger. Are you ready? Hinata nodded, but secretly wondered what him and Shino had planned for her to do. It made her nervous. Wait here a sec while I get Shino, okay? Hinata watched Kiba make his way over to their other teammate. Kiba said something to Shino and Shino responded back. Then Kiba began waving his hands in the air and it looked almost as if he was yelling something at Shino. Finally the two made their way back over to Hinata. What's wrong? She looked back and forth between her two teammates for an answer. Well, you see Hinata. He. Kiba's stuttering was cut off by Shino. We don't have any plan to develop a new jutsu for you, since we lack the full understanding of your capabilities. Oh, is that all? Hinata's head dropped. But we can still help you. We thought we could put you through some drills today to see what your strengths are and what you could work on. Kiba desperately suggested. That's fine, what should I do first? Hinata patiently waited for some kind of direction. How about we work on your reflexes, with him? Shino walked over and put his hand on Akamaru's head. Once you can outmaneuver Akamaru, we'll see how you fare against my bugs. Hinata readied herself for Akamaru's attack. Baryukugan. Gotcha, right behind that tree. Hinata prepared for her attack from behind, but in a flash Akamaru was gone. Where is he? Suddenly she felt a big slobbery tongue on her face. Why couldn't I see him? Hinata's eyes watered in frustration. I slipped him a pill, Kiba laughed. I knew you'd be able to keep up with him no problem as normal Akamaru, but I gave him a pill that makes him a little harder to keep track of. Oh. Hinata just stared at the ground. What are you three doing? All of them turned around to face their sensei Kurenai. She stood with her hands on her hips and her red eyes were narrowed. Kiba and Shino were trying to help become stronger sensei. Hinata didn't even look up at her instructor. Yeah, we thought we could help her learn a new technique. Kurenai raised an eyebrow at Kiba. Is this true, Shino? Yes, Kurenai sensei. Hinata, you're not ready to learn a new technique just yet. You need to strengthen everything you already have before you can move on. I understand that you want to become stronger, but you're fine the way you are. Your strength will grow when it's ready. Do you understand? Hinata looked into Kurenai's eyes, frustration flowing through her veins. I understand, Kurenai-sensei. Good. Now let's get some real training done. Kurenai began barking orders at her team and didn't stop until the sun had finally gone down. Later that night, Hinata sat in her room icing her ankles and thinking about her training from earlier. Everybody thought that she was weak, even Kurenai. She didn't even want to help Hinata work on a new technique. Hinata let her emotions begin to overwhelm her and she pulled the locket out of her shirt. As she stared at the confident face in front of her, she felt even more confused. Naruto, what would you do? She quietly asked. She almost expected a response, but instead her question was met with the quiet chirping of the crickets outside. Hinata laid in bed staring into her locket until she slowly drifted off to sleep. In the morning, Hinata woke up and felt refreshed. She knew what she had to do. She turned over to find the locket lying by her side, face open. Thank you, Naruto, I'll never give up. Hinata hastily made herself presentable, then she went out to find Neji. She found Neji where he always was, training at the clan's training ground. Hinata watched Neji pummel an imaginary attacker in the middle of the dry desert-like ring he was in. She had never really liked the clan's training ground, it was too uninspiring for her taste. Not like her team's training ground. Patiently she waited for Neji to come to a standstill before she tentatively approached him. What do you want? Neji asked as he looked down on her from the corner of his eye. IIW was J just wondering if you could teach me a new technique. Isn't that what your sensei is for? He asked condescendingly. Hinata swallowed and slowly began to back away. As her foot stepped down, she felt a familiar thump on her chest. In an instant her eyes hardened with purpose. I want to become stronger. I would like you to help me. She spit the words out before she had any time to resist. Neji eyed his cousin up and down. Hinata felt the scrutiny under his emotionless gaze. Why should I teach you anything? He countered. Because I want to change my destiny. Hinata stubbornly shot back. Hinata could see Neji's face soften at her words, but in an instant it was replaced by the same indifference he always wore. After a long pause, Neji spoke. Very well, Hinata. You want to change your destiny, we begin now. He ordered as he prepared himself to fight. Hinata's eyes widened in surprise. She had never really believed he would accept to train her, let alone expect her to start training now. I understand if you have changed your mind. Neji icily said to his stunned cousin. No, I am ready. Now, Hinata declared as she positioned herself to fight. Come at me like you normally would for now. Neji instructed. Hinata activated her Byakugan, then attacked Neji with her gentle fist. Neji easily blocked every attack Hinata came at him with and counted every time he could penetrate her defenses. They danced around in a circle of chakra-filled taijutsu until Neji had enough. Stop. Neji ordered as Hinata's hand halted in midair. You need to focus your chakra to your hands more, Hinata. By focusing all your chakra to your hands, your striking will become more effective because each blow will have more than twice the amount of power. More chakra. Hinata repeated. Precisely. Now come at me again, but this time focus all your chakra to your hands. How will I know when it's right? Neji gave his cousin a knowing smile. When I'm not able to block you. Neji swiftly took his fighting stance and ran at Hinata. Hinata put her arms up to counter. As Neji's palm skidded off Hinata's shoulder, her palm slid into his chest. Concentrate your chakra more. I can't, she cried as Neji landed a blow to her chest. Yes you can, I can see chakra too, remember. Hinata hit the inside of Neji's leg as she dodged his attack from above. Is that all you have, Hinata? If so, you should quit now. You'll never be strong enough, not for Kurenai, not for your father and definitely not for Naruto. His voice lingered on the last name. Naruto. The name resounded in Hinata's mind. I have to do this for Naruto. As Hinata drew back to strike Neji in the chest, she felt a giant wave of energy crash through her body. Hinata threw her hand forward and Neji stepped inches out of reach, his eyes wide in wonder. Then a few white sparks emitted from Hinata's hand before she collapsed on the floor from exhaustion. Hinata floated in and out of consciousness over the next few days, but she could hear people talking. She tried to strain her ears to listen, but the only thing she heard were bits and pieces of conversations. Yes, sir. A light emitted from her hand. No, not even I can call on that much. Still, she is inferior to you in every other way, Neji. She is weak. Forgive me, Hiashi, but inner strength is not weak. I would have expected a different response from you of all people, Neji. Quote. Hiashi, I have something to tell you. What is it, Neji? After I finished training with Hinata, I saw a figure of a boy about our age. He disappeared shortly after I spotted him. Who was it? I am unsure, but I believe it was Sasuke. Have you told the Hokage about this? Hinata drifted back into unconsciousness, her head full of images of her father, Neji and Sasuke. Come on, I've got to do this. Naruto stared at the palm of his hand, desperately trying to gather any chakra, a drop. He'd been trying to do this for months and still all he saw in his hand was the white of his palm. Wait, what's that? A small white wisp began to rise over Naruto's hand. I've got it. Naruto celebrated as a slew of half-en women ran by him. Jiraiya glanced over at Naruto's hand, anger lining every crease on his face. You haven't done it, you idiot. That's just mist from the hot spring. Can't you tell the difference? Jiraiya longingly looked toward the bamboo wall he had been hanaging over just a minute before. I'll tell you what you have done, boy. You've ruined my research. Naruto looked around the smoky tub of water. The steam was more visible against the backdrop of a midnight black sky. Well, if you had actually been training me instead of being AL, I would know the difference. Naruto's eyes narrowed at Jiraiya. Look, boy, you're moving your chakra the wrong way. I've already told you that. Jiraiya lazily slumped into the spring. Well, how am I supposed to fix it? Naruto demanded. You have to figure that yourself, boy. I told you this would be hard technique to learn. One of the reasons it is so hard is it requires the student to think critically about themselves and their abilities. In fact, some people had to eventually come to terms with the fact they just didn't have the ability to wield the Rasengan. Most don't, but you, my boy, have the opposite problem. You may not have the intelligence to create it. Jiraiya chuckled at his own joke. Naruto glared at water. I can do it, pervy sage, just like I beat Neji during the Chunin exams. Jiraiya watched Naruto stare down his hand. Then he rolled his eyes and sighed. Okay, boy, you want my help. Here it is. Watch the water in the spring. See how it flows into opposing directions. Now look at the outside of the spring, where the water isn't coming up. That water is flowing in the same direction. Basically, your chakra is the first one, but you need it to be the second. Jiraiya studied Naruto as his eyes focused and his nose wrinkled in his effort to recreate the Rasengan again. Are you tired, boy? No, I can go for days without sleep. Jiraiya smirked at Naruto's comment. Then come, get dressed and meet me in the wood. Naruto made his way to the spot in the wood Jiraiya had been teaching him for the last few days. It was a small circular clearing perfect for training. Even at night, the large canopy of leaves allowed just enough moonlight to illuminate the tiny sphere. There would be no need for him and Jiraiya to rely on artificial light tonight. Jiraiya, Naruto called out. He waited for a moment with no answer. Jiraiya, right here, boy. Sheesh, you wanna wake everybody up. Naruto spotted the tall man sitting up against one of the trees. Jiraiya rubbed his eyes and stretched before he pushed himself up to his full height. It's about time you got here, boy. If you would have taken any longer, not even bears would have woken me. Naruto clenched his teeth and glared at his sensei. Who did he think he was? Alright, boy, it's time for you to start your training. Create the Rasengan for me. Jiraiya leaned back up against the tree, his massive arms tucked across his chest. Naruto took a deep breath in. I can do this. Ero Sennin is watching me. I have to do this now. Naruto began concentrating on his hand, just as he had done back at the spring. Come on. Flow in one direction. Come on. Ha ha ha. Naruto broke his concentration to see Jiraiya laying on the ground holding his sides. Are you constipated, boy? Jiraiya let out a few more humorous breaths. Naruto's face burned and he grit his teeth. What? He yelled at the older man. What makes you think that you'll get a different result by doing the same thing over and over again? Hun, you have to think outside of the box, Naruto. If one way hasn't worked, try another. I don't understand, I'm trying to channel my chakra the way you told me. Naruto stared at his hand, confusion in his face. Look boy, all I'm saying is if one way hasn't worked for you, try another. Like when you fought Neji at the Chunin exams. How do you know about that? Don't think I didn't read up on you before we left. The Hokage knows everything about you. Don't forget that boy. But, that's not the point. My point is you changed your game plan when it came to Neji. You changed your fighting style to fit the enemy. Yeah, well I had to win that fight, I had made a promise. The memory of him bending down and dipping his hand in Hinata's blood flashed through Naruto's mind. What's different? Jiraiya tried to read Naruto. You made a promise to yourself. Or perhaps you need a different type of motivation. Jiraiya raised his eyebrows and gave Naruto a wide smile. I don't know, the need isn't the same. Naruto defended. I suggest you figure out what triggered that rare stroke of brilliance, or we'll be here for quite a while. Jiraiya absently suggested as he settled into a tree with his arms above his head for a pillow. Naruto went back to making the Rasengan with his chakra. I can't do it. Why? Why can't I do this? Maybe I'm not strong enough. Naruto let his mind wander to the village. His first thought was of Sakura, the cute pink-haired and green-eyed Kaneki he wanted to date, but was only his teammate. At least they were friends, if only she didn't hit so hard. Then his thoughts turned to Sasuke, his other teammate, the one he couldn't bring back. The one he wasn't strong enough or smart enough to save. Maybe Jiraiya was right, maybe he wasn't smart enough for this. His fight with Neji had been won out of sheer luck. Thinking back on it now, it was impossible to believe he had thwarted such a rival. His mind flashed back to before the fight. He was almost ready to give up, sad, alone. Neji had almost killed his own cousin in the fight before, he was heartless and Naruto was afraid to face him. He remembered being at the training ground seriously thinking about giving up, then Hinata. She admired him because he never gave up and she had become stronger because of him. Those were the words she had said that day, that's why he faced an enemy he knew he couldn't defeat. He couldn't give up now. Naruto frantically began trying new ways to control his chakra. He tried hanging upside down, holding an object in his hand and distracting his mind. Jiraiya watched as Naruto jumped from one idea to another. After hours of trying and nothing sticking, Naruto collapsed against a tree in exhaustion, causing the tree to shake and a cascade of leaves to fall. Burnt out? Jiraiya asked behind closed eyelids. Exhausted, Naruto admitted. Ready to go back inside? Jiraiya asked hopefully. Naruto watched two leaves fall down together, each one catching the air and circling around the other. Naruto watched the two dance in unison down to the ground. Not yet, Naruto said as he pushed himself back up. I have an idea. Jiraiya rolled his eyes back into his head and lay there half asleep while Naruto made a clone. Two blonde shinobi stood in the clearing with a determined expression. Both had their tongue sticking out of their mouth and their eyes were unwavering. A blue light began to build in the hand of the Naruto building the chakra, while the second Naruto began swashing the chakra in different directions, just like the spring. Yes. Naruto let out a yell. What? Jiraiya was woken from his sleep. Slowly he opened his eyes to see the light blue light of the Rasengan resonating in Naruto's palm. That will be all for this video. Be sure to like, subscribe, share, and comment down below for more videos. Goodbye.